All right, what's going on, everyone? All of Jets Nation, welcome back to the Italy Jet post game show with my lovely co host, as always, the Jet Show, and then Harrison Glaser. We are all over the United States. I'm in Missouri. He's in shows in California. Harrison is in New York. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it was an interesting loss. Some of you guys are taking it very hard. Some of you are like, this was a very tough. This was tough, but it's something we can go on. Or Mike White is the guy, or you blame LaFleur. There's a lot of different ways you can go about this game. But first off, you can follow me at Italy Jet on all social media platforms and everything NYJ on all social media platforms. Show Harrison. We'll start with you where you guys they can follow you, and then we'll go into it. Harrison, we'll start with you.
Yeah, you guys probably know where you can find me. If not, on Twitter at NYJets, TF Media. Bring you guys all my takes and stuff I'm thinking, as well as media updates, video, all that great stuff. A lot of great stuff on Twitter. But more importantly, I'd love if you guys can subscribe to my podcast on YouTube. It's the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Please subscribe. I got my live show on Mondays, 7 p.m. Awesome time. Chat it up with everybody. Throw your guys' comments up. We talk about everything. It's an awesome time. Please be there. And again, if you could subscribe, be greatly appreciated. It's the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast.
Awesome. Show where can they find you?
You guys can find me, of course, here on Twitter at The Jet Show, show without the W at the end. You can also find me on Twitter as well. I do have accounts on Instagram and also TikTok. Not as active there, but yet and still, we do every now and then put out a little content. So it would be a great day if you guys decided to follow me, like, and comment on some of the videos.
Awesome, guys. So we'll get right into this. Harrison, we'll start with you. How did you like the Jets today? We'll go low off script. Go for it on all of it. You start.
All of it. I like it. Just batting it off. Just bang, bang, bang,
go
bang.
For it.
Just
go
hit it.
for it. Go for it. Hey, all you.
Man, I mean, we're going to talk some positive for a minute. The defense was awesome. The defense struggled at times, but that was kind of, again, the way we have to look at this. And me and Show, we're just chatting about this before. We went into Minnesota on a top football team. And yeah, everyone was talking about, how bad this defense is, low rate pass defense. Yeah. But the Vikings are 9-2 for a reason. Their defense has played well, and this was a really good game back and forth. Again, we talk about wanting to play meaningful games in December. Well, that's exactly what this was. This was a meaningful game in September with playoff contention on the line against one of the best teams in football, and that's why they're 9-2. So I thought our defense played really well. I think except for a few plays, and it was one of the last plays with DJ Reed with Justin Jefferson, so it was brutal. It hurt. DJ Reed said, I'm going to be better. Honestly, man, I look at it as you shut Justin Jefferson down for the whole game except for that one play. So, yeah, it was the last play, so it's magnified. And people are going to say, oh, well, they're going to point fingers as Barrios is the reason we lost, or DJ Reed allowing that catch is the reason we lost.
Negative.
But overall, Reed was amazing. I thought Sauce was going to be shadowing Justin Jefferson the whole game, but DJ Reed got a piece of that action, and he looked good considering. I wanted to shout this out because this was actually surprising. I don't know if I actually hadn't heard, and I don't know if everybody had heard. So we knew DJ Reed came out of the game early. He came out of the game for a couple of plays, here and there. He looked really good, though, like really good through the whole game. Apparently, DJ said, and there's a quote from him because after the game, he was wearing a mask. He said, I woke up today, my chest was really tight. I had fluid in my chest. On the play I came out, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I was on oxygen the whole game. I was super, super, super winded on that play, so I just had to come out and get checked out by the medical staff. So, man, factor that in. He shut Justin Jefferson down, and he wasn't even close to 100%. Like, holy crap. So, man, our corners showed. They had a day. They were fantastic. They allowed, like we said, one here and there. That last one against against Justin Jefferson, again, was a huge one, but they were really good. The defense overall, again, toward the end of the game, had that huge stop to give us a last opportunity. Man, in that moment, just confirming what we felt through this season. that we got arguably the best defense in football. So, man, the defense was awesome. And you talk about the offense. Mike White didn't have a great completion percentage today, but he made a lot of really good throws. He made a lot of really good, really crucial throws. And we mentioned before the Vikings playing a good game. They were playing well on offense, but also defense too. Mike White's biggest thing that we've been saying about him, he's amazing at taking what the defense gives him. Well, the problem today, they weren't giving him that much. There wasn't that much for him to work with at all. He was forced to try to make things happen, forced to make some big throws, and I felt like he did. So I want to definitely talk about Mike White a little bit more, as we go on. But man, he made some really big throws, some excellent plays to guys like Garrett Wilson, to guys like Corey Davis, spread that ball around. Couple of not great throws, but a bunch of really good ones and very accurate throws to, again, give us that opportunity where at the end he's trying to make something happen. He's trying to make, the first interception, talking about that, we definitely have to talk about that at one point. The calls in the beginning of the game were out of control. Like those two PIs, like out of control. Like Corey Davis, total PI on him. Like that interception, that's crazy. And you talk about momentum and changing a game. That's big momentum. That was literally the first drive of the game. So massive momentum changer, giving the ball to them. We're down 23 at one point. We came back against one of these really good team, a really good team that is a 9-2 team in Minnesota. So yeah, I thought the defense was outstanding. I think, even though Mike White didn't have a high completion percentage, he threw the ball too much. He threw the ball 57 times. Like that's insane. Like that is way too many times to be throwing the ball. Again, felt like that first interception wasn't his fault. There was that other PI on Denzel Mims. Again, momentum is everything. I felt like he made a lot of big key throws, and really, especially with Garrett Wilson, the connection there looked awesome. We couldn't put it together, but I'm not happy that we lost, but I feel really good about this team right now. I feel really good about what the defense is doing, what the offense is doing, and I feel pretty good about Mike White.
Okay. Well, we got Harrison's take on this show. What's your take?
My take far as the game and how I feel about it?
Yes, everything.
The first half, I was not pleased with the offense nor the defense, being honest. I feel as though if the way we played in the second half, if we'd have played that way in the first half, this probably would have been, I hate to use the word so loosely, but an easy win for us. The way we played in the second half, man, was the defense that we were accustomed to seeing. I think some of the penalties didn't go in our way. The opposite of that is, I think a lot of penalties, especially in the first half, went towards the Minnesota Vikings, even with that one rushing touchdown, the second one, not Cook's touchdown, but the backup running back, that one touchdown that he had, man, that was a lot of holding on that side, and they didn't throw a flag or anything. So, Harrison, I was saying it earlier, man. The team looks very promising. The Jets, we look very promising. You're talking about a team who looked god awful last year, and now you're looking at a completely different team. It's a complete 180 at this point. You're looking at a team who went into a 9-2 team that's been playing very good ball, and we didn't look that bad. We absolutely could have won this game. Red zone a couple of times, settle for field goals. One or two of those drives would have been a touchdown. You have a completely different ball game, right now in today's accurate time. But I'm okay. And I hate to say that so easily or so loosely. I'm okay. I'm okay because I like what I saw. When you think about this, is Mike White this is only his second game of the season. Could there have been some things that we could have done differently? Yes. I don't understand if we're going to run the ball in the red zone, like on the 1 or 2 or 3 yard line, why are we not using Robinson? That's what he's known for. So when I see things like that, I'm like, what are we doing here? Right? If you're not going to have Robinson in the game, pass the ball, man, on the 1 or 2 or 3 yard line. It's just like small things like that. I get why Twitter is, destroying Mike LaFleur right now, but he's not to blame. In this game, you can't just blame one person or two people for us losing this game. It was just a hell of a game today. Vikings played ball, we played ball, and it's just the better team, the better coaching staff won today. It's no one's fault why we lost. So, am I okay with the loss? No. Am I happy how my guys played? Yes. Overall, yes. To simplify
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Okay. Well, I agree and disagree with both the guys. You brought up some very good points, but for me, I think this was I think Mike White did well, but you can tell he's got to work on like when because I feel like the defense knew what he was going to do when it came to quarterback sneaks or when it came to anything that he did. I feel like they saw it coming. He's got to learn how to like keep that in check. Like get what's the word I'm looking for? Being sneaky. I think he needs to learn a little bit more on how to be sneaky. It'll get there though, because like everything that he did, especially with the quarterback sneaks, and especially when he was going to throw, like he just kept focusing on one guy. I feel like and trying to look for Davis, trying to look for Gary Wilson, but then he would look over and then he would see the guy and would always throw an interception. So and then every time when he would throw it, it would I kind of felt like it was like a little bit over here anytime a guy would shift. So I'm like, okay, well, he's throwing these darts, which are nice. I understand the Barrios thing. Barrios could have caught that, but still, it was a little bit way over here. Now, you can't argue that he threw over 300. I mean, 300 yards again, over. Damn, it's a lot. And I'm just confused why we didn't use James Robinson a little bit more because so I brought him in. Bam Knight, I mean, hats off to Bam Knight. Great running back. I mean, he was a workhorse. And then Conklin, man, he's killing me. This is like Conklin's going into
Yes.
the Vikings, and it's like, dude, stop throwing to him if he keeps dropping it. So it's just I love Conklin, but man, this was kind of like his game. I'm like, hey, I'm better than Hawkinson, you know, Hawkinson, whatever you want to say. But overall, the defense stepped up when they needed to be. Their defense came out and was like, I don't care who you are. They they were ready for us. All the injuries and everything they had, they were good. Like they were good. I mean, we exposed them, yes, but they were ready for us. And then the offense, you could tell, just like the Josh Allen game against the Bills, man, we rattled him. I really firmly believe that we rattled him, and he didn't look like the same guy after that, in my opinion. But overall, just like Harrison and Show that you guys have been saying, this is the Vikings. This is the calendar that I had circled saying this is going to be a tough game no matter who's injured, no matter who's playing, because it's the Vikings. They're 9-2, now 10-2 for a reason. They always come back in the fourth quarter. They're one of the best fourth quarter teams in the NFL, just like the Jets. We are tied with them. So it's one of those things where it's going to be difficult no matter what. But yes, Show and Harrison, like you said too, I am proud of this team. We held until the very end. Yes, it was a tough loss. I'm gutted, but like at the same time, Mike White, I think, deserves another shot to be a starter because
Absolutely.
he did step up when we need to be, but also he just needs to work on his mechanics a little more and stop it and just not give these fakes so much. Like he could do better in that department, but I think he's going to be okay. But overall, tough loss. Let's move on to the Bills. But Harrison, I want to go to you and I want to ask you a question. Why do you think and this is for you too, Show. Why do you think they didn't use James Robinson so much? You think they were just going with the hot hand with Bam Knight or Ty Johnson, or what do you think?
Yeah, though the hot hand is Bam, man. The hot hand is Bam
Amen.
Knight without question. I
Amen.
mean, you put
Yes.
everyone else's
Mm-hmm.
carries together, and that doesn't
Yes.
get what Zonovan Knight is the man, bro. I mean, Bam is he is. I felt this way, man.
Yeah.
This is the kid. I watched him play in college. I really liked him. I was so excited when we brought him on as an undrafted free agent. I watched what he did in the preseason. I really liked what I saw. Again, feeling like he fits the way we run very well. Like, I'm going to bring it up right here. Robert Saleh, they actually asked Robert Saleh about Bam Knight and Bam Knight's performance today. And he literally said, where is it? I have it right here. He said that he loves the way Bam Knight runs. He's a north and south kind of runner. He's got a great burst to him. He's got a little extra juice. He showed it today. He had that really big run. He runs violently. He's exactly the kind of runner we use in this kind of an offense, a one-cut kind of guy, north and south kind of guy. Pretty strong for his size. Like, he kind of like the way people neglected with Michael Carter. Like, this is a guy that you may feel like, oh, he's not the biggest dude, but he can pile forward. He can move that pile forward a little bit, but he's fast, he's quick, but he's a linear guy. I like him, man. Again, really excited. Thought he did great last week. Today, he had 90 rushing yards and averaged 6 yards per run. He averaged over half of a first down every time he carried the ball, and he had 90 total rushing yards. I'm curious what his receiving yards were. I don't know if it was plenty. So this is now 2 weeks in a row that Zonovan Knight has over 100 total yards in his first 2 performances. So, man, it's not that the other guys, it's just Zonovan, man. Zonovan is freaking killing it. And again, Show was saying it before. This is a guy I wanted on the 53.
Yes.
Like, I'm watching what he's doing, and I'm like, man, Zonovan looks so amazing. Michael Carter is going to be healthy soon. When Breece Hall comes back next year, is our running back room even legal?
Yeah, it's 5 guys. You have good 5 guys.
Are they going to deem it like against the rules? Because it's going to be that good. So, man, it's exciting to think about that. Like, next year, Breece comes back, but, man, Zonovan Knight. Again, Robinson got carries, but Zonovan Knight is special. I love that kid. I'm glad he's getting opportunities. Man, he's an undrafted kid. Can't wait to see what he can bring. And it doesn't mean James Robinson isn't good. Like you said, he got a couple of carries, and he looked good on those carries. So it's just a lot of guys that can eat. But right now, Zonovan's the one that's getting the rock, and I'm loving it.
Show, what do you think about Zonovan Knight? Do you think there should be an issue, or?
You guys know I love Zonovan Knight.
Yeah,
huge
I know.
fan of Zonovan, man. Huge fan of Zonovan. Like I say, my only concern was, they marched the ball down the field. He was part of the reason why. So once once the guys entered the red zone, at that point, especially like 5 yards from scoring a touchdown, throw James Robinson in with those fresh legs, man. He's a power back. Just let him pound it in. Even if you have to run it 3 times in a row with James Robinson, man, just pound it in. He'll get us there. The guy can tote the ball. He's a hard runner. But Zonovan Knight, oh, absolutely, man. I love watching this guy play. He's very electric. I think from our running back room, I think, my personal opinion, I think he's one of the most overall talented running backs, meaning like he can do a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he's the shifty guy. He has a little power in him. He can also catch the ball. And like Harrison was saying about Robert Saleh's press conference, he's a north and south runner as well. So to me, this guy has a lot to offer to this offense, and I think that's the reason why he's shining. He's just not limited. I've even seen him make some good chip blocks. So like he even has the skill to block. Maybe not the greatest blocking running back, but there's a little bit there. He's able to do a little chip block or whatnot. But overall, man, I'm very pleased with Zonovan. I have no complaints about Zonovan at all. And if I'm being honest, I don't have any complaints about any of our running backs this year. Not even Johnson so far. Johnson has been playing pretty good ball. So overall, Zonovan Knight, yeah, man, that was I forgot who said it, but they were like, I'm surprised that Zonovan Knight wasn't drafted.
Michael Carter.
And look at Michael
Carter played, because he played against him at North Carolina.
Right. So, But looking at him now, you see why Michael Carter said that. This guy can actually play ball, and he can play ball at an NFL level, and I'm just so happy that he's on the New York Jets.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, when I honestly felt when they cut him from the 53, I was nervous we weren't going to get him on waivers. Like, I was shocked he made it through. I was like, we can't let this kid go. Somebody had to see what he did in the preseason. But, man, thankfully he's back. He's here. And, man, what he's doing now, he's never getting inactivated. So, like you said, it's just exciting to watch him play. Michael Carter be back soon. And we just know Breece Hall will be back next year. So, man, this is exciting. This is exciting to see Zonovan Knight performing the way he is and looking as good as he is. Again, multiple 100-yard plus total yard games in both of his first 2 games. Freaking awesome.
I mentioned to my family earlier, I was like, oh, we talked about it as well on our previous shows. And I was like, why in the hell did we keep Johnson on the 53-man roster versus Zonovan Knight? Like, I was like through the roof when they announced the 53-man roster. I'm like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Right? But it was a light bulb came on today. Mm-hmm. And I told my family, I was like, you know what? Maybe this was the plan all along. You know what I mean? Like maybe they were like, let Zonovan rest, learn the playbook, and he'll have fresh legs halfway through the season. We'll implement him to the 53-man roster. And as of right now, if that was the plan, excuse my language, it's fucking working well.
Yeah.
Well, you rolled the dice hoping he would make it back to the waivers.
That's true. That's true.
Thankfully he did.
Yeah, put him on the practice squad. It's definitely a gamble. Yes.
Not only that, Parks. We were all freaking out about Parks. Pinnock when it happened, Smart, Marshall, Knight. I mean, it was one of those times where even Cager at the time, it was like, oh man, what are they gonna do? And when you kept McDermott, and I'm like, oh god, yeah, McDermott back, okay. And then Ashton Davis, we're all it was like, why you want him? I mean, these guys are coming up big, and like I said, we got the most depth out of anybody in the AFC East, in my opinion. So overall, I'm gonna give a special shout out. And Liam is in this chat right now, and I think he knows what I'm about to say. I'm going to give a special shout out to Greg Zuerlein. I've called it all week. I've always had issues with him because I've seen him with the Rams. I've seen him with the Cowboys. I've seen it up close. I've called it all week, especially this morning on my pregame show for Let's Talk Sports. I said he's going to have a very good game today. He's either going to go 5 for 5 or 6 for 6 because it's in a dome. He does very good in a dome. His numbers, stats are very good. That's where it became Greg the Leg. Started with the Rams, then it went to the Cowboys. I mean, he hit a 60-yard as a franchise record, just like Liam said in the chat. So I'm very proud of him. Hats off to him. I don't know if I'm ever going to give him crap again because of today, but we'll see. We'll see.
I remember you weren't a big fan of him in the beginning.
The jury's still out for me. But I like what he's doing. He's had a great last 5 games. So
yeah, Gino, you remember
at this point the jury is still out.
Hey! Just like everyone keeps talking about Zach Wilson, right? Everyone keeps going back and forth with him. Everybody keeps going back and forth with everybody, right? Everything changes each week. You know what I mean? So it's like you never know what's going to happen. Or might be calling for Man's Head in a week. Who knows?
We want to keep it within reason. We want to keep it within reason. Man's been killing it.
But you know that, though. You know that there's always something, right?
Yeah. But, man, with Zuerlein, man, he was the guy I always wanted, and we talked about that. Like, really? I was looking at Pinheiro, and I was like, everyone was loving that he was perfect for a small amount of time. But I was like, well, so was Matt Amendola. Let's not forget that. Like, he was perfect. Like, he was like 15 for 15. I was like, he's amazing. Even I fell into it. I was like, we found our franchise kicker. He's here. And it just helped that he looked like a freaking Greek god. Like, it was like, this is amazing. The guy's Italian for a kicker. We're like, this is great. And it was just, it didn't work. I had that in my mind with Eddie Pinheiro. It was like, it hadn't worked out with other teams for a reason. Yeah, he's doing good in a small sample. Yeah. I always liked Zuerlein, man. I always felt like, I know you said, he did have seasons where he wasn't always the most accurate. Yeah. Like you said, he's Greg the Leg for a reason. Like this dude, when it's over 50, it's almost like it's guaranteed with him, which is crazy. And like you and Liam said, we got to give him the shout out, man. Gotta give him the shout out.
I got
it. Today, Jets franchise record. Yes. Greg Zuerlein now owns the Jets' longest field goal in Jet franchise history. And that's freaking. And if you watched it, dude, it had like a good 5-6 more yards on it. Like I saw that thing go through, and I'm like, could he have hit that from 70? Like shit.
No, he almost He has that leg. I've seen it.
No, but close. Most guys when they kick 60 or 61, it's like right over. His was like middle of the upright. I was like, damn, man, that was impressive. So shout out to Zuerlein. I think it was 5 for 5 or 6 for 6.
So I think it was 6 for 6.
I think it was 6 for 6.
It was 6 for 6, but I called it all this week and this morning that he would go either 5 for 5 or 6 for 6. So
But man,
I'm happy with it.
60-yard field goal with
Yeah.
room to
Oh
spare.
yeah.
Just
Oh yeah.
unbelievable, man. Shout out to
Oh, yeah.
Zerline. Now holds the Jet record.
And then
Yes.
and only got him on a 1-year deal for nothing. So if he continues, we'll definitely sign him back, in my opinion.
I think
But
he's coming back.
yeah, I think so
Oh
too.
yeah,
But
without a doubt. I think he's
Yeah.
definitely earned
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
his,
Right.
I mean, that's what I always
Continuity,
felt with him.
baby.
Like I always felt
Continuity,
he did
baby.
have seasons where he was consistent.
you gave me a cookie.
Cookie Regino.
Give me a cookie for that.
But man, a big one we got to talk about is Mike White. Like Mike White is a big.
Hold on, we're
topic
getting
of
there.
conversation.
We're getting there.
We're building up.
We're getting there. I want to talk
Harrison,
about
like, let's get to it, man.
Hold on. I know you. He loves quarterbacks.
Well, it's
So
the guy, man. It's just it's what
Yeah.
everyone wants to talk about, man.
I agree.
He's
That's
the
true.
guy.
That's
He's the guy
true.
behind center.
Say the best for last.
Exactly. You know me. I always save it for
that's
last.
what you're doing, Italy.
Exactly. I always do. So let's
I'm
talk
waiting.
about.
Build up the anticipation.
I got to,
Right.
because that people will stay to the end. You never know. So it's one of those things where the defense. We'll talk about the Vikings. Talk about the defense, but we'll start with the defense. What do you think that the defense? How do you think they did? Jets
First half,
defense.
I was highly concerned about our defense in that first half, man.
Mm-hmm.
But being honest, I tweeted out, like, excuse my language, I was like, damn, we have to beat the refs, the Viking fans, and the Viking players.
Yeah.
I think the first half, they had a lot of calls that went their way, man, which is unfortunate for us as Jets fans. Far as my opinion about the defense,
Yes.
first half question marks, but we didn't play that bad in the first half. It's not like we were just like giving up like crazy amounts of big plays, but certain things I still don't like. Like we call soft coverage on 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3, and for the life of me, man, I don't understand why do we call these plays. I mean, he simply hiked the ball and just threw it to Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson kind of bobbed the ball a little bit, and Sauce Gardner was backing up, instead of coming forward on a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. So, like, where's the hard flats, things of that nature, or maybe even man coverage on those. So it's like things like that, So we still have that third down bug, whether it's the third down bug on offense or defense, but we want to stick to the defense. So I don't like some of the zones that we call. It's like when we play man, we actually make stops. And it's like we'll go right back to zone. I guess it's just the anticipation of having people, keeping them on their toes as far as what we're going to call.
Right.
But let's be honest here, man. This team is built to run man with the two cornerbacks in Reed and Sauce Gardner, with the 4-down lineman who's always, bringing pressure. The linebackers who can cover, and if we're playing a big nickel, we have other guys, safeties that can cover. So overall, I'm very pleased with the defense. They were, to me, in my opinion, they were almost lights out in the second half. I also tweeted out at halftime, like, in order for us to become the Jets that we've been thus far, we have to have these D linemen to apply pressure. Before halftime, we didn't have a single sack. And we play well when we're putting pressure. Our defense is a complete different team when the 4 guys are getting home. And we saw a result of them not getting home today in that first half. We gave up 20 points in the first half. I think that's the most points we've allowed this season in the first half. So I think the halftime conversation adjustments went a long way. They only scored 1 touchdown in the second half. So am I pleased with the defense? Yes. Simply because we adjusted at halftime and we came out and looked like the defense that we've been seeing the entire season in the second half. So, yes, I do like the defense and what they're doing.
Harrison, what about you?
Yeah, man. So, shows, great points, man. Absolutely great points. Both, like you were saying, Minnesota was 9-2 for a reason. They're 10-2 now. They're 10-2 for a reason. Their offense, they have a good offensive line. Our pass rush did have trouble. We struggled getting to Kirk Cousins, and it allowed things to happen. Our corners, man, considering that we weren't really getting consistent pressure, we really got to shout them out, man. Really got to shout them out.
Yes,
like Justin Jefferson, considered the next greatest wide receiver of all time. We were just talking about him last Sunday, right? They were talking about him in putting his name in conversations with Jerry Rice already.
And Randy Moss now.
It's
crazy.
insanity. Well, but Jerry Rice, the greatest of all time, they even say his name in the breath with Jerry Rice. It was crazy. I'm like, wow. And you watch him play, you know this kid has that potential. Our cornerbacks, and we thought again it was just going to be Sauce. We thought Sauce was going to be shadowing Justin, but man, DJ Reed, even like we said before, not 100%. He said he had medical problems going on, fluid in his chest. He wasn't 100%. Literally felt like he couldn't breathe out there at points. Him and Sauce shut them down. They had 173 total receiving yards. Think about this for a second. Garrett Wilson had almost as many receiving yards as not Justin Jefferson, the entirety of Minnesota's receiving team. Garrett Wilson had 162 yards alone. Minnesota had 173 altogether. Justin Jefferson had less than 50 yards. He averaged barely over 6 yards a catch. Again, that last play on DJ Reed, now knowing that he had that medical stuff going on, it's amazing he was shutting down as much as he was. That last play obviously had major impact. It was a huge touchdown, but we can't let that shroud the fact that, again, just thinking about that number, Garrett Wilson has almost as many receiving yards as all of their receivers. Everybody together.
Crazy.
They shut them down. It was awesome, man. And again, the pass rush wasn't there. So that was the biggest struggling point. But like we said, we know Minnesota's 9-2, now 10-2 for a reason. They have a good offensive line. They have good receivers. They have a good quarterback. We know these things. So the defense, considering who they were playing, was outstanding. And the secondary, especially DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, can't give them enough credit. Massive shutdown again. What our secondary did, the receiving numbers, it's just unbelievable. Completely shut down Minnesota's passing game.
And not only that, you guys brought up very good points, but we all knew what we were getting into with the Vikings. So it's honestly the fact that we kept up with them was an amazing accomplishment. Let's go to the coaching now. We won't talk about the Vikings, and then Harrison. We'll talk about Mike White. But let's go to the coaching first. How did you guys feel the scheme for the offense, the defense, special teams, Salah? Well, how did you guys think the coaching was? Show, we'll start with you, then we'll go to Harrison.
We were absolutely outcoached in that first half.
Okay. Second
half, I think we outcoached them. So I would do a 50-50. If you're looking at the Viking side and our side, I would do a 50-50. So I think that's why the game was, so close in score. I think we absolutely dominated from a coaching standpoint in the second half. The one coach that I would maybe give a little, question mark by just a little bit, not all the way, would be Mike LaFleur.
Okay.
I think in the red zone, he could have mapped out up a few more plays. And I'm like I said earlier, I'm not throwing LaFleur under the bus. We know this guy can scheme guys open. We've seen it. We saw it last year. We've seen it this year. So I'm not going to base it off of one game where it wasn't just incredibly bad. He just, at times, he didn't call the right plays. Well, who on this earth is perfect all the time, every time? You know what I mean? So overall, I think Robert Saleh is doing a good job. I wouldn't have threw the red flag on that catch by Hawkinson and Mosley. What do you win from that? You know what I mean? Let's say if you got it right, it's 4th and 1. Well, they need 12 yards to score a touchdown. Do you think they're going to kick a field goal? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So from that standpoint, I wouldn't have thrown the challenge flag. Ulbrich, like I say, he overall did a good job today. It just at certain times they call those soft zones, which you guys have heard me talk about. I hate so much. Mm-hmm. It's like they call them at the wrong time. It's 3rd and 2, and you're calling a soft zone. Justin Jefferson literally just comes off the line. The ball is right there, in his hands.
Yeah, facts.
Just simple stuff like that is what I don't like. But overall, though, the guys did a great job today coaching. I think this team plays together.
Yeah,
special teams plays together with the defense. Defense plays with the offense, and then just on the defensive, offensive, and special teams side, just with those 3 units, the players within those 3 units, these guys, and you can tell it's a real brotherhood at the New York Jets this year. And I think with that being said, we're going to go a long way. If we don't go far this year, man, our future is very bright. So yes, I think we did a pretty good job today, man, as far as the offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, and the head coach.
Good stuff, show. Harrison, what do you think? Coaching.
Yeah, man. So, like, it kind of goes back to the same thing we were just saying before. The Minnesota Vikings are a really good team. They've,
Yeah.
They talked to Kirk Cousins about this, and he said, this is nothing new. It's been this way for a long time. We have
I
the
agree.
right guys here. We have the right attitude, the right coaches, the right minds, the right everything. It's just translating now because different reasons, but now that the wins are there, it's good to see. It's always been that way. This is a quality team. So going against a good team, again, like Show pointed out, the offense, kind of ties in with Mike White, and we'll talk about him a little bit. I felt like the defense wasn't giving that much, up. The defense was playing really, really well. It was really good coverage. The pass rush was pretty good by Minnesota. So Mike White really couldn't, take what was being given a lot of the time, or couldn't see the field as well as he'd like to see because he had big guys in his face more often than not. But I felt like the play calling on the offense could have potentially been better. I mean, in that second half, it definitely felt like there were adjustments being made, and there were much better plays and much better, definitely, receivers getting open easier and, bigger plays happening. So it definitely seemed like there was some of an adjustment. But defensively, like Show pointed out, deep the zone to man, I think the defense is killing it right now, man. So just, as much crap as Ulbrich was getting, I'm kind of at the point right now where, let the defense cook. I'd like to see more man coverage too, but, let Ulbrich call his schemes because it definitely is working. So I like the coaching all around. Again, on the offense, I feel like we have these weeks where sometimes we see massive adjustments, sometimes we see some adjustments, sometimes we see no adjustments at all. But other than that, I am impressed. I mean, I love what Robert Saleh has brought in. I love the culture change that he's brought in, the attitude he has, the attitude of all his coaches, of all the players he's brought in. It's definitely the culture change, and that's because of the coaches and what they bring, because everything trickles down from them. So again, I'm happy with all of it, but not maybe hating on Mike LaFleur, but again, maybe thinking, could be better.
Yeah. I agree with both of you guys. Also, I think if, like I said, Barrowson dropped the ball, if Fant didn't have that penalty, and if Mike White would have ran, I think could have ran in for a touchdown when he hesitated to throw to Wilson on that play in third quarter, then it would have been a different game. But overall, now Harrison, we'll talk about Mike White, your boy, or the quarterback position, your boy.
Effing White.
So Harrison, go right ahead. Talk about the quarterback position for this game.
So to talk about Mike White, and I noticed some people were putting it out on Twitter as well after the game. I was just curious. I was curious what people's takes were going to be, and it seemed like the takes
I love your
more
takes.
often than not were. I appreciate that. Totally appreciate that, man. But it seems like most people's takes were, more interestingly enough, that Mike White showed what he needed to show, that he showed that he could be the guy. And I'm excited to hear that because I thought it was going to be the other way around. I thought, people were going to be like, oh, he didn't win the game. He had a bunch of bad throws, which he did have a couple of bad throws, a couple of bad decisions here and there, tried to win the game at the end. But I liked the way he played. And again, we come back to, that statistic we said before. Our defense was so good. Their entire receiving core had 173 receiving yards. Garrett Wilson had 162 himself. Garrett Wilson had 15 targets go his way. Him and Corey Davis saw 25 targets, just the two of them. I absolutely loved that, man. I mean, Corey Davis had a couple of key drops. Kind of good at that, given one or two where you're like, man, oh my God, you had to come down with that. But he did have a good game. He put up almost 100 yards. But man, Garrett Wilson, like we just said, put up almost as many yards as the whole Minnesota team combined did. Man, 162 yards. Loving that connection between him and Mike White. Absolutely loving it. So yeah, take on Mike White. I felt like the biggest thing that we've seen him do, and what he always says, he stays cool, stays calm, stays collected, has a great demeanor in the pocket, and always takes what the defense gives him. Well, today they didn't really give him that much, and that was the biggest thing. And Minnesota, good team for a reason. Defense really didn't give that much. The windows were really tight, and he had to make things happen. And because he had to make things happen, that's why I liked what I saw. He didn't, force anything really bad, like he pointed out last week, right? I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but last week, Mike White said, what team defenses want to do is get you frazzled, make you make a bad decision, or try to play hero ball, and that's not what football's supposed to be. And he didn't do that. Again, with the defense not, giving him what he needed, he didn't play hero ball. He didn't do anything insane. He took a bunch of calculated risks, and a lot of them paid off. Some really good throws to Elijah Moore. Hell, I feel like that Elijah Moore catch on the sideline toward the end there, he should have came down with that. And if he would have came down with that changes. And that's the thing. That changes everything. And you mentioned Braxton Berrios again.
Garrett Wilson.
Got to give Mike White the love, because he even shouted out Braxton Berrios, saying that wasn't the initial route. Braxton Berrios just had the amazing insight to cut back in based on the way the play was going and the way the pocket had broken down. But, man, Braxton dropped it. It was a perfect throw, though. It was a perfect throw to Braxton. Mike White made a bunch of really amazing throws to Garrett Wilson. He made a bunch of really good throws to Denzel Mims, to Elijah Moore. I loved what I saw. Again, it didn't work out, but just evaluating Mike White, I really liked it, man. I was like, there's a guy that, like we said, always takes what the defense gives him. Well, like we just said, in a game where he was playing a really good team that wasn't allowing that and was making consistent pressure, he didn't turn the ball over a lot, right? That first interception, Show, you mentioned it. Those PI calls were freaking ridiculous. Corey Davis, he was 100% being mugged like crazy on that play. Of course, the ball got knocked out.
Yes.
That
majority of the
an
time,
And that changes the whole momentum of the game. That's the first drive of the game. Now, as you're marching down the field, they have the ball. That's a momentum changer. And then that big throw to Denzel Mims, I mean, the dude didn't even have his head turned around. He basically ran into Denzel. That shit was crazy. So horrible calls in the beginning of the game, but really like the throws Mike White made, the decisions he was making. And again, having to put it on him. It wasn't there. He had to read the field. He had to make the decisions. I like the windows he was throwing into. I like the decisions he was making. Again, couldn't take any crazy risks until that last drive, and that's what you expect. The game's on the line. There's barely any time left.
Right.
Now's the time to play the hero ball. That's what he realized. Now's that moment. But before that, calm, cool, collected, made a couple of bad throws because guys weren't open, didn't let it get to him, made a lot of key throws, really kept us in the game. But, man, I love the big throws Mike White made. His accuracy and decision-making was excellent. I really feel, again, even though, it's still hard to say yet, I'm really starting to feel it, and I'm loving it, man, thinking we might have found our franchise quarterback in Mike White, and I love that. I love that.
I think our franchise quarterback is Josh Johnson. I think we let him get away. No, I'm just kidding. Harrison, great take as always. I love you when it comes to quarterbacks. You always got so much insight because you're so pumped up about it. I wish I was as pumped up about quarterbacks as you are. I'm just not. But Show, your turn about Mike White.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from Mike White. If I'm being honest,
Okie
I am loving what I'm seeing from Mike White. I told Brandon earlier, I'm surprised he's not in the chat. I told Brandon earlier, man, I said, I just wish Mike White had Zach Wilson's legs. We'd have the perfect quarterback. But I absolutely
kind of mobile.
Right?
Kind of.
Right. But no, I'm loving what I'm seeing from Mike White. The guy is a quick decision maker. You know what I mean? It's like he's making his pre-reads before snap. And I think in his mind, he already kind of knows his 1 and 2 options. And I love his poise in the pocket. He doesn't panic. He'll let the ball fly and just eat the big hit versus, trying to scramble and things of that nature. He trusts his pocket. He trusts his front lines, and he will take the checkdowns. He has no problem with taking checkdowns. And I'm like, this is how you run an offense, man. Mike White do man, I'm yes. If it's there, he's taking it. If it's not, what was that one play? They had pressure in his face. I think it was 3rd and 6 in the third, maybe fourth quarter. And instead of forcing it, he just threw the ball down to the ground towards the guy's feet. I'm like, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. So right now, in my opinion, man, we're looking at a quarterback who understands the offense. He understands the players that's around him, and he's competent.
Here you go, show. Here you go, show. That's what Brandon said.
Oh, there he is. There's Mr. B.
I like that.
Mr.
Mike
B.
White
What's
legs
up,
with
B?
Zach Wilson's top.
Trash.
I guess that's Joe Flacco when he stops being able to throw the ball.
You know what's
That's
really
true.
crazy though is people think, oh my gosh, Harrison.
Harrison, man.
He's the quarterback coach. He's a quarterback coach.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps
But
saying that we should start Flacco over Mike White, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying a little bit, but it was better to go with Mike White.
Yeah, bro, I was
sorry.
thinking that-
Go on, show. Go on,
Yeah.
show.
Oh no. I mean, basically, I'm saying like you're talking about a quarterback who just played his first 2 games this season. The guy has thrown for over 350 yards in both games. You know what I mean? Like the right play call, he could have had 2 touchdowns, passing touchdowns today. He had a rushing one, right? But he could have had 2 passing touchdowns today. And I think this guy, I'm going to say it, is our future quarterback. I absolutely think that the guys in the locker room love him. The coaching staff love him. The guy seems to get the scheme. Like I was saying earlier, it's just I don't really have anything negative to say about Mike White. And to me, when you're at that point where you can't pinpoint something that he could have done better, then why sit him on the bench? It's my take on Mike White. Let's go, Mike effing White.
Yeah, and if you don't mind me, just picking back, like we talked about show the other week, this was his
go ahead,
fifth
please.
career start. This was his 5th career start. We, literally, I was looking at it. I presented to you guys last week. If Zach Wilson had done in his first 4 starts what Mike White did, we would have been heralding him as he's arrived. Our quarterback is here. He's everything we wanted him to be. 400-yard games, 3+ touchdowns, has a game later on with almost an 80% completion percentage, 300 yards, same 3 touchdowns, but no interceptions, showing the improvement. We'd be like, holy shit, he's here. But it's crazy, because Mike White's a 5th-round pick. You would think he'd get more of a leash, but man, he's proving it. And again, I really feel it. I'm with you, Show. I 100% feel it, man. I guess I'm just a little bit still like, I still want to see him keep doing what he's doing. But even today, where his completion percentage was low, it's because he threw the ball 57 times. Mike White should not be throwing. I don't care who you are. No quarterback should be throwing the ball 57 times. And like we said, it was all on him today because the defense was playing really well. We were giving them crap that they weren't going to be that good, but they were good. We have to call a spade a spade. He couldn't just take what was being given. It wasn't there. And because of that, don't want to crap on Zach too much, but in those situations, that's where we see Zach. That's where we see Zach play hero ball, throw the interception. Not what Mike White did. He stayed cool. He stayed calm. He didn't, and that's why people are like, "Oh, things aren't happening." But bad things aren't happening either. There's nothing there. He's not throwing 4 interceptions. It's just not open and it's not happening. But like we saw, as the offense started to groove, it got open. And man, on those big throws to Garrett Wilson, again, Elijah Moore should have caught that on the sideline. That perfect throw to Berrios. For all the decisions and the throws Mike White made, he was accurate. He was calm. He was poised in that pocket. I saw, like you're saying, again, Show. I want to say it. I saw a franchise quarterback. And I'm just, oof. How amazing is this? Like we said, I mean,
I'm gonna chime in.
5th round. Yeah. I was thinking
finish. I thought
this would be a 5th-round pick that nobody saw coming. Like, how freaking beautiful is that, right? Like, we never get that. Like we said, we're the team that can't draft a quarterback. We have the worst quarterback luck of any team. Remember, we joked about all the Giant fans crapping on Eli. If Eli was our quarterback, we would have heralded him as the greatest thing ever because he put up numbers that only Joe Namath has ever put up. Like, we've never had guys like that. Man, Mike White, if he could be the guy, that's like our Tom Brady story, the guy guy out of nowhere. And again, like we talked about last week, if Mike White can be the guy, just like the Patriots always rubbing it in our face, they will have to remember they're the team that sat Zach down. Mike White came in, and it's looking like the rest is going to be history.
Mm-hmm.
Or were you going to piggyback off, Joe?
So one thing I was going to say, I know Garrett Wilson was lights out. He was absolutely my favorite offensive player today. But I must say, I think my favorite big play pass of the game was the pass to Corey Davis, man.
Yeah, agreed.
That big play, oh my God, dude. That play was bananas to me. It was like the perfect time. We went for it we had to go for it on fourth down in the fourth quarter, right?
After that overthrow from
the
overthrow.
That play, he caught it. Man, he lasered that ball in. And yeah, I'm surprised he caught it too, because it was a perfect pass. In my mind, I'm like, this just doesn't happen with the Jets. Like, we're not catching this. I don't give a damn how well he put that ball. And Corey Davis came down with it, man. I jumped. You should talk to my family about how I went crazy at that moment. Another thing is, everybody would be singing a different tone if Berrios had caught that pass to win the game.
Oh, I know. And that
point, or if even White had made a play at the end of the game there. Or if Elijah Moore had made that sideline catch.
Right.
Agreed, Abby.
Right. So the things that we're saying and looking at now, far as Mike White potentially being a franchise quarterback, I think it would have been nailed in the coffin with a comeback win today for Mike White and the Jets. I think at this point, the analysts, even the Jets hater they would more than likely be on the train of Mike White as the future quarterback for the Jets. So this could have, kind of helped Zach a little bit, I guess, in a little bit. But JT said something in the comment there. He was like wondering what is JD going to do. He was basically saying we need a big target receiver in the red zone for the red zone area. And if Brandon, if you're still on the live, I was saying put Denzel Mims in, and just give him a toss-up pass. As long as Pat Peterson wasn't on him. If it was Booth, I don't even know if Booth is.
Yeah.
As long I say just make sure Denzel is not messing.
And they don't call it. I guess
that's true. That's true. But I felt as though when you think about Denzel and his talent coming out of Baylor, that's what he did. The 50-50 balls, the high point catches, that's what he did. And in my mind, I'm like, at least try it on second down. You don't have to try it on fourth down because everybody knows you're going to pass it. But at least just sneak it in there. Match Denzel up with a smaller cornerback. Toss it up, man. And I'm about 70% sure he's going to come down with it because, first of all, he's hungry. He wants a contract coming up. And he has a point to prove. And on top of that, that's what he does. That's his gift.
Well, you're right. You're right. That's why I remember when Corey Davis went out, that's why, remember, Robert Saleh literally said Denzel Mims is going to play the Z. He literally pointed out, like we pointed out, that he obviously preferred bigger body wide receivers on the outside that can make those kind of catches. And, man, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, Garrett Wilson, all three of those guys are great at those 50-50 balls, man. Yeah. So it's great to have guys like that. And you saw Mike White, again, being smart, taking calculated risks like that, putting balls up for them to get. Didn't pan out sometimes, but again, it's not like we're talking about a 4 interception game. Like, what the hell was Mike White thinking? He made really good decisions.
Yes.
I like what Clark said.
Saunders?
Yeah. If Mike White can't keep it close next week, people will call for Zach. Honestly, that's what I'm afraid of. I'm gonna be honest. I want to know what you guys think, but that's what I'm afraid of. But she was wondering if you had a Ty Law jersey on. You have a Revis jersey on, right, Show?
No, this is Revis.
Yeah, that's funny that Ty Law, he was with us for such a short amount of time. Yeah. That's funny. She's right. Actually, shout out to Abby.
That's a good call, Abby.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good call, Abby. I actually don't own a Law jersey. Right. Yeah, he did. So it's a good call by Abby. I actually don't own one. I actually do want one. I think we talk about some of the Jets jersey. You do?
Yeah, I love it. Yep.
Maybe because he wasn't with us for a long time. Maybe that's why we
Yeah, he
don't
wasn't with
consider
us a
him
long
one of
time. We
the.
were excited because he was so
Right,
great.
right.
Oh,
Because he
I
got like a
know.
great corner
Yeah,
toward the end of his career.
yeah, he was good,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah,
And
he was
everyone
good.
thought Ty
Yeah,
is
Law was a
Abby
beast.
thinks Ty Law had his best season with us. But then she was just playing, I think.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
This is what
He
he said. I'm
wasn't
like, I
bad
don't know.
with us, but
He
yeah, he
wasn't
was a
bad with
Yeah, he
legend.
us.
wasn't
He did
Yeah.
bad.
pretty good,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know.
Good call, Abby.
Yeah, could go
Yeah, but
one
back to what
20 something
Saunders was saying, man. You're
seconds.
saying if
Yeah,
Mike White can't
yeah.
keep it close next week, people will call for Zach. You're probably gonna, and again, we talked
Everyone's
about
gonna
it
call for
here.
everybody. You're gonna
Yeah,
have those type of
that's
guys who
yeah.
your favorite is, right? So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but not just that. It's we talk
I,
about it here all the time. We
Right.
love our Jet. We love our Jet fans, all of us. But we're a volatile
mm-hmm.
group. That's just
Yeah.
how we are. We throw this guy under the bus one week, have a great week, and then the next
Right,
week he's bad.
right.
So I bet there's probably again. I feel like I was surprised seeing how many people on Twitter saying Mike White looked really good, even though they didn't win. He made a lot of really big throws. He showed me that he can be the guy.
Yeah.
I was expecting more of the opposite. But I don't know, man. I really feel like,
JT.
again, we're looking at this wrong. Mike White is only 27 years old. That's still
Ain't that
young.
crazy?
It's because he hasn't had
That's young.
opportunities. Why would you turn back to another guy just because he was the second overall pick? Again, I would love for Zach to be the guy. You guys know how much I loved him.
Yeah,
and still do. I would love for
right.
him to be the guy, but we want to win. We're Jet fans. We want success.
We wanna win.
What Mike White is doing, we've talked about it, guys. I mean, literally in the games he's played, he set Jet records. He set NFL records. We just talked about what he's done today. He's showing that even though he's a fifth-round pick, he can be the guy, and it shouldn't matter at that point. Once you're on the team, it's whoever is the best quarterback to play the best football for your team to win. If it's a first overall guy versus a seventh round guy. If that seventh round guy is winning and killing it, then that first overall pick rides the bench, in my opinion.
Amen.
So Mike White looked great, man. Again, that team played really well against them. I liked what I saw. I want to say it again. Show was saying it before. I don't want to, I just don't want to say it and then be let down and be like, oh my God.
Right.
But I really feel it, man. I really feel that we have found our franchise quarterback in Mike White. And again, if we forget draft picks, like pretend he was the second overall pick, like Zach Wilson, what he's done in his limited sample size is just so freaking impressive. It is just so impressive. His ceiling, we're comparing him to Tom Brady. Does he have a Tom Brady-like ceiling?
You never know. But hey, you know what's really funny about this situation? If Mike White is our franchise QB, we cut Mike White, the New York Jets, 4 times. 4
That's a fact, bro.
times. 4 times. And he still came back. And he's still on this team. And then
he went his way through Dallas.
I think that's just. I think
never gave him a shot.
Maybe it's destiny.
Yeah, like I said, it's a good story. That Hollywood can take this story and just run with it, like Kurt Warner. But it's unbelievable. You guys know with me, I'm always 50-50 about everything. I'm week to week. I'm day to day. There's things that the Jets did great today. The things the Jets didn't do great today. I'm always 50-50. Mike White, week to week, but I still think he is a better option with Zach Wilson. But everybody in the comments, I love the comments, very active. JT, Clark, Abby, even Liam a little bit, Vinny in the beginning, even Mike. That's my closing statement. Anybody else got any closing statements before we go?
Yeah, sure. If you want to take it off, I'll go after you, man.
Yeah, go for it, Joe.
Okay. Closing statements, guys. Don't have your heads down about this loss. Keep your head up, man. We came from an Adam Gase team to a team that arguably is the best defense in the league. We also have a very young, promising offensive side of the ball. So don't take this loss as the Jets suck or we're the same old Jets.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but this is a moral victory, man. We struggled with Zach. We brought in Mike White, and Mike White is playing ball. This quarterback understands this offense. And
Jeffrey.
I think moving forward, even against the Bills, even if Mike White looks not as good against the Bills, still don't hold your head down about it.
Yes,
This
sir.
team has a very, very bright future.
Yeah, and show like you
Other
said,
than
man.
other,
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Harrison.
I was gonna, but like you said, man, earlier you mentioned it. Mike White, the players love him. And why would you not love a guy like you said, Gino, that's gotten no opportunities? He's had more
Yeah.
adversity than, like you said, looking at a
Yeah.
guy like Zach, infinitely more adversity, infinitely less opportunity, and he's still making this name for
4
himself.
times.
They talk about, remember, Garrett Wilson said it just the other week, that when he was the third string quarterback, he was taking every rep he could get, earning everything he could. During the game today, they said the one thing Mike White used to love to do was in the locker room, he would sit with the guys, even though he's the third string quarterback. He wanted to get to know them. He was getting close with them. So when he finally earned his opportunity, he was just one of the guys. They love him, man. Not that everyone's saying, they hate Zach Wilson. I wouldn't say that. I don't think they hate Zach Wilson, but they love Mike White. And again, this story,
It's tough,
fifth round pick, Cinderella story, the guy nobody saw coming, the one everybody said wasn't good enough, earning his opportunities. I come to what Garrett Wilson said today about Mike White. They asked him at the end of the game, and he said, that boy's a dog, man. For real. He said he was out there controlling the huddle and never let the moment get too big for him. But what my favorite part was, he said, I know I'd go to war for that boy. He's got something special. So you know what? Garrett Wilson would support Zach Wilson, but he would kill a motherfucker for Mike White.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying. I will go to war for Mike White. So that's the difference. He likes Zach Wilson. He's killing a motherfucker for Mike White. Mike White, this locker room loves him. He is the guy. I love it. The chemistry is there. This is what we wanted, man. And again, that quote, just right when he said I'd go to war for him, man, they would. They love this guy. He loves them. It just couldn't be more perfect.
Amen.
It just couldn't be.
Amen. Harrison, I love that. And also in all the press conferences today, everyone's closing statement, they all took accountability, including Mike White. JT said good stuff in the comments, but also just even with Wilson, like this was a game where it was a neck and neck football and they just won. And I agree with them. Whitehead with all of the hits. Thank you, Whitehead, for showing up with the hits finally. And Quincy with the hits as well. Guys, this has been the Italy Jet post-game show. Thank you for commenting. Harrison, you guys know where to follow Harrison. You guys know where to follow the show. You all know where to follow us. Guys, we love you. Good things ahead.
Italy, before you close it,
I swear to God, Sean. No, I'm just kidding.
One more. You know I love you guys. I love being here.
I'm kidding.
This is like my second home, man. I love being here.
I'm just messing with you.
One thing that we talked about, I was like, did Max Mitchell look good because AVT was playing next to him? They literally took him out the game today and put Fant in.
I think it was still injury stuff.
We didn't talk about that. I just want to get you guys' opinion on it, and then we can close it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't talk about it. But I need to hear my guy. I need to hear my brother's thoughts. What do you guys think?
Yeah, and I love the show actually because I actually put that take out immediately. Like right when I saw Max Mitchell struggling a little bit, I was like, I love this kid. He's our future at right tackle. I love what he's developing into. But we have to remember he's a fourth-round rookie, and he could struggle, in his rookie year. It makes sense.
And he just came back from injury, too.
Yeah, exactly. Just came back from injury. So I was like, how great – and it hadn't even happened yet. I was like, how great does it feel to know that we have George Fant waiting in the wings?
Yes.
In that situation.
But
to the point where now –
the depth on this
exactly.
team,
to the point where after all the issues we've had at tackle between Dwayne Brown, between Max Mitchell, between – George Fant, we not only have quality play at the offensive tackle, we have depth. And then right in that moment, I love it, man. That's exactly when Fant came in and couldn't have been any more perfect. They asked Robert Saleh at the end of the game about why you put in Fant. Literally, like based on what I was just saying, like literally pretty much what I put out. He said, well, we felt Max was struggling a little bit, so we just wanted to get George out there. It makes sense. And again, that's the point. When you got quality, when you got depth, you can say, okay, he's the rookie, he's our future, but we're making a playoff run. We want to win this game. Let's put the veteran in.
Yes.
So what about all these injuries too? because I was freaking out when Quinnen
Well,
went
if you
down.
want to hear something good about injuries, so this is one
And
of my
then Carter
favorite
3,
things.
Carter 2, like he's out now. We don't know if he's gonna come back or not. But Clemens came back in. Like I was just, my heart was going crazy on all these injuries today. Sorry, what were you saying, Harrison?
I
Well,
told
no,
Brent.
this is Robert
I told
Saleh. It was one of the biggest things, major silver lining. At the end of the game, they were asked Robert Saleh if there were any injuries today. No, everybody finished the game. So that's one major silver lining. Every injury wasn't permanent. Clemens, Quinnen, everybody's good. Everyone finished the game.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Even Carter. Is Carter
I
okay?
told.
Yeah, Michael. Yeah,
Well,
that's what he's saying. That
yeah.
everyone was good.
Okay. Good.
You mean Michael
I
Carter the
told
second,
Brent.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I
Show.
told Brandon Leon when they announced that Clemens was down. I looked at Brandon. We were watching the game together. I was like,
I freaked the hell out.
"Wait a minute! I'm shocked. Like I thought injuries were afraid of Clemens. like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
You know, what I
He came
mean?
back twice.
Like, everything's afraid of Clemens.
He came back twice. He came in, came
He
out,
did.
came in, came out.
He
I was
did.
like, dude.
He did, man.
All right. Anything else we're missing, fellas? Anything?
No, I'm good.
Harrison?
Well, I just last thing, I think it was who was it? It was JT, I believe. Someone made a shout out to Mike White's. No, definitely. I think it's not even an option. I don't even think it's going to be a topic of conversation because if you go back again, like we talked about earlier, the defense didn't give him anything. He made some outstanding plays, excellent decisions, really, really great throws. But someone pointed out, that Mike White made a really good comment in his presser at the end of the game. And that was a big thing too. They, like you mentioned, show moral victory. Obviously, it felt like that to us, but you got to love when the quarterback says, this is what Mike White said, by no means are we making this a moral victory because moral victories don't count in the NFL. But we're really proud of how our guys stayed together. And I like how he ended it. He said, we stared adversity straight in the face and responded. We just have to respond better. Again, just love the things he's saying. He's got the right attitude. Exactly. He says all the right things, and these guys, the players, love him.
I mean, and the Dolphins, Tua got injured today as well, so keep an eye on his ankle injury.
Guys, I'm not celebrating injuries for the record.
No, don't. Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but now they're at the use back of quarterbacks, and the Dolphins are crying. So it's going to be interesting. We'll just look out for that this week. Look out for all the injuries this week. Follow these guys on all of their platforms they got going on. They're some of the best in the game, including me. Thank you guys for all the support. I'm Italy Jet, Harrison Glaser, Judge So. Have a great weekend. Have a drink for me, and have a good week. See you later, fellas.